Hey again girls, I am going to tell you all about our 9x9 caps and the benefits of wearing a larger cap. So when I speak about the 9x9 caps, it's also very similar to our 8x8 caps. So they're only obviously a 1 inch difference. So before we get into it, let's just have another look at the Lusta cap base. So this is it here. I'm sure you're all very familiar with it. So I'm just going to show you again if there's any newbies out there. So this little part here is the silk component. Now this particular brown piece isn't the actual silk, that's just a covering for it. But you can see on the other side of the piece, this is the silk material here, which shows through. Now, this bit here is just the surface space, I guess, for the silk. So this means that the part line of the topper can be moved anywhere in that silk component. And that measures 4 inches by 4 inches. So you can move your topper part line anywhere in that area. Now, the remainder of the base is the wefting. So that is what makes up the bulk of the hair for the piece, because if it was just that 4x4 bit, it'll be a very tiny topper. So that is the base of the piece. Now, people get very nervous with larger toppers. Now, I just want to put it out there that larger toppers, like our Lusta toppers, we only really do those larger base sizes. Even the 7x7, even though it's our smallest base for Lusta, it's actually still a medium to large base size. And the reason we do that is through a lot of trial and error. Like, we've been talking with so many of you for almost 3 years now. And the majority of our returns from back in the day were for our small toppers. So that included things like our 2x5, when we used to do those 2 inch by 5, those little baby ones. Same for our 3x5s that we were doing. And also it rings true for our 5x5 toppers, which were sort of like this. And even to some extent our 6x6 toppers, even though they were popular, they still, especially if you have female pattern hair loss, they were still hitting, the sensitive areas of our scalp, which we don't want to be clipping clips into it because the hair is already fine. So the last thing we really want to be doing is irritating it or causing breakage or our hair to become more delicate. So that is why we only start at 7x7, because with the 7x7 it does give you a really nice base, and it's not too big and it's not too small. So it is a really nice size without causing too much tension. However, if your hair loss has progressed a little bit more, or lots of our customers do prefer the larger ones, you can go with our 8x8 or our 9x9. Now, the other myth is that if it's my first topper, I should get a smaller base. Well, no, not necessarily. If it's your first topper, it doesn't matter. You need to purchase something based on your specific needs. So if you only have a little tiny bit of hair loss or no hair loss at all, okay, maybe those smaller bases will be fine. But I also want to really warn you that the smaller bases do not lay as flat as the larger ones. So in people's mind, they think, oh, if it's smaller, it's going to look more subtle. Not necessarily. Sometimes the smaller pieces don't look as natural because they're sort of just placed on top of the head. So they're just I don't know, change your head shape a little bit and make it look a little bit puffy in a way. So this is the reason why we only do the large sizes, and we have lots of clients as well without any hair loss who love the larger cap sizes, because from the 7x7 up to the 9x9, because they're super comfy. They're not going to cause any tension because of the clip placement. They're just super beautiful. They lay flatter, they look more natural in our opinion, and they're just yeah, they just feel like you've got nothing on your head, even though like it's, you know, there's a lot of hair on here, but once it's on, it's going to feel so like integrated with your scalp because it's dispersed evenly. Yeah, it's hard to explain. You just have to, my Lusta girls know what I'm talking about. Now, before we put this on, I want to show you how the caps are measured. So they are measured at the full stretch, okay? So when we measure them, we turn them out. So it's like inverted. We use a bendy measuring tape and we go from the widest point to the widest point. So I'm putting it in the middle over here to the widest point, and you can see at the full stretch, it reaches to the number 9 there. So this one is a 9 by 9 inch, same as that's the horizontal measurement, and then the vertical measurement also wraps around at the full stretch, and there we go, it hits the 9 inches there. So that is how they are measured. Regardless of if you go for a 7 by 7, 8 by 8, or a 9 by 9, they are all going to look the same when they're on your head. Visually, to the person looking at you, they're not going to know if you're wearing a 7 by, actually they're not even going to know you're wearing a topper, let alone if you're wearing a large base topper or a small base topper. So just remember that because the cap construction at the front of the piece is exactly the same with the 4x4 silk bit and then the 2 clips on the side and the wefts beginning over this way. The only difference with the larger one is that there are more wefts in the back. So the difference is it's going to be clipping down further and having more stretch over the head. It's not going to look visually different in any way, shape or form. When I see like the photos that you girls send us, I can't tell if you're wearing a smaller 7 by 7 base, small medium 7 by 7 base, or our larger 9 by 9 bases. So let me show you. Now, one of the benefits of our larger bases is the clip placement. You can see here, this clip on the side is going right down here, and that's super comfortable. So the front clips are in a similar position on each piece, but it is more those back clips are just going to be clipping right down. See, the front one, it's going to go back here, which admittedly is a more delicate area. I tend to not actually wear this piece, but if it's like a windy day, for example, I will wear it. But all the rest of the clips do go in a really beautiful spot, like at the real back of my head, which I love. So this is true for the 7 by 7 and the 8 by 8. So this one's the 8 by 8 and the 9 by 9. So this one here goes right down the back of my head here. Okay, so super comfortable. Even this clip at the front is actually not that bad because the other clips are dispersed evenly and are further down. It really does make a difference because it's going to give you less grab and less like tension here. And that is the same for all our toppers, the 7 by 7 up to the 9 by 9. So yeah, so you can see here, this is a 9 by 9 on my head, super natural, super flat, blends really well. This has had the Lusta signature cut, so it does have a bit of layering in the front. So yeah, if I was to put a 7 by 7 on, it would look exactly the same as this. One of the key benefits of the 7 by 7 cap size is that you can do those little bit higher ponytails. So that is one of the main benefits of the 7 by 7. However, you can still do ponytails with the 8 by 8 and the 9 by 9. It's a little bit more comfortable to do like mid ponytails to like low ponytails because sometimes the higher ones, because the cap is larger, it's just going to be a bit more tricky to like gather all the hair up into a higher ponytail. So yeah, I think I've covered everything. I love all the caps. I actually own one of each of the sizes. I tend to like pick things based on the color I like because even the 7 by 7 is super comfortable for me because even though it clips a little bit higher up, it still is enough that it's not really grabbing that sensitive area up here, which a 5 by 5 or a 6 by 6 would. I hope this video was informative for you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.